What if the person you fell in love with was supposed to be your enemy? She was sent to spy on him. Every word, every smile, every step, recorded. But when the mission became personal, everything changed. And he had no idea. It was past midnight when he swiped right. Not out of boredom. Not out of loneliness. He just couldn't sleep. The city lights flickered below, restless, almost alive. Cars hummed far away like veins pumping through the dark streets. He stood by the window, phone in hand, a glass of whiskey sweating quietly behind him. Power had a way of isolating a man. By now, he had everything people said mattered. Money, influence, authority. Yet the one thing that mattered most, connection, was dangerous. Then her photo appeared. No filters. No posed backdrop. No expensive props. Just a woman sitting near a window, calm daylight catching the lines of her face. Nothing forced. Nothing artificial. Something about her stillness unsettled him. He paused. His thumb hovered. At the same moment, she was staring at her own screen. Heart beating fast. She had prepared for this moment countless times. She had rehearsed every interaction. She had memorized his face long before he swiped. Because she wasn't here to find love. She was here to observe. To learn. To report. She had built the profile carefully. Neutral images, ordinary locations, nothing that would trigger suspicion. She needed him curious but comfortable. Interested but not aware. And yet, when it matched, both of them froze for a moment. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. She typed carefully. Funny. I was thinking the same. He smiled. A small, real smile. Not the one he showed the world. They exchanged messages. Small talk. Music. Late night habits. The city. Nothing personal. And yet, it felt personal. He noticed how she didn't pry. She noticed how he didn't boast. Minutes stretched into an hour. Then he did something reckless. Coffee tomorrow? Public place. Her pulse raced. This wasn't in the plan. She typed back. Okay. There's a cafe near the river. He agreed instantly. When the screen went dark, both of them sat in silence. Miles apart. Bound by a single decision. He didn't know he had invited danger into his life. She didn't know that one swipe had placed her heart in the crossfire. Because this wasn't love yet. It was the beginning of a lie. And once it started, there was no turning back. Nia had been trained not to hesitate. Hesitation got people killed. Yet the moment she closed the dating app, she stayed seated on the edge of her bed, phone resting loosely in her palm. The screen was dark, but the weight of what she had just done pressed on her chest. Her room was minimal. No personal photos. No distractions. A temporary life designed for missions, not attachments. She reached for the second phone. The encrypted one. The one that connected her to the people who had assigned her to observe him. One tap, one secure line. You made contact. A voice said, calm, measured. Yes, Nia replied, steadying herself. How quickly? Less than an hour, she said. A pause. Then, good. He's more reckless than we expected. Nia stared at the wall. Her assignment was clear. Minjun was the target. Not for money. Not for business. For leverage. Information. Control. You know the objective, the voice continued. Get close. Learn his habits. His routines. Who he trusts. What keeps him awake. And when we say pull away, disappear. She ended the call without another word. This wasn't her first assignment. Different faces. Different names. Same endgame. Men who thought they were untouchable, until they weren't. But something felt off this time. Nia opened the encrypted dossier on Minjun. Photographs, public appearances, surveillance notes. Everything redacted, everything sanitized. It painted him as ruthless, untouchable. A man whose enemies vanished quietly. Yet the man she'd just met didn't feel like that. He was careful, calculated, observant, not cruel, not careless. The next morning, She arrived early at the cafe by the river. Public table. 2 exits visible. Old habits die hard. Minjun arrived soon after. No bodyguards. No entourage. Just him. Simple clothes, straight posture, eyes that scanned without lingering. "You're real," he said, almost to himself. Nia smiled lightly. "Disappointed?" "No," he replied. Relieved. They ordered coffee, black for him, sweet for her, small details remembered, small rituals observed. Their conversation flowed easily. Too easily. Minjun spoke about growing up fast, learning early to guard his trust. Nia spoke about moving often, never staying long enough to get attached. Both told half-truths. Both observed. Yet, when they parted, Minjun didn't push for contact. He simply said, "I'd like to see you again." Nia nodded. And as she walked away, she felt the first fracture in her discipline. For the first time, in years, Nia wasn't thinking about the mission. She was thinking about him. And the mission had begun stepping into her life in ways she wasn't prepared for. It started with a text. 2 days after their cafe meeting, Minjun's message appeared on Nia's phone late in the afternoon. "I have an hour free. Walk with me?" Nia froze. It would have been safer to ignore it, safer to stick to the plan. But she typed back, "Where?" They met near the river again. The city moved around them, oblivious. Joggers passed, street performers sang softly, and the neon lights of distant skyscrapers reflected in the water like fractured stars. Normal life. Minjun walked beside her, hands in his pockets, perfectly at ease. He didn't lead, didn't dominate. And that alone unsettled her. "You walk like someone who's always ready to leave," she said, half teasing, half observing. He glanced at her, amused. "And you analyze strangers for a living?" "Only the interesting ones." He smiled, then looked away. Habit. Hard to turn off. The way he said it made her chest tighten. She knew exactly what he meant. They stopped at a street vendor for coffee. He paid without ceremony. No guards. No entourage. Just him. And she noticed, he positioned himself carefully. Back to the wall, eyes scanning reflections in the glass across the street. "You expecting trouble?" she asked lightly. "Always," he replied. Then, softer, almost private, "You don't survive long otherwise." Nia's heartbeat picked up. Days passed. Dinners. Walks along the river. Conversations that stretched past midnight. Minjun never pressed for intimacy. He asked questions, carefully crafted, small, personal enough to reveal a shadow of himself without giving away too much. "What scares you?" he asked one night, leaning against the balcony railing. The city lights sparkled below like a living map of dangers and possibilities. "What makes you angry? What would you change about your life if you could?" Each question chipped away at Nia's defenses. And one night, sitting on his couch after a long day, Minjun said quietly, "I don't trust easily." "I know," she replied. "But I trust you," he admitted. The words hit her harder than anything else. Harder than any threat she'd faced, any mission briefing. Because trust was her weapon, her armor, her shield, and now it had turned on her. Her hands shook slightly as she reached for her encrypted phone, the one she used to report back to her handlers. She didn't send the message. Not tonight. Instead, she studied him, the man she had been sent to destroy, the man she was beginning to care about. And for the first time in her life, she questioned her own loyalty. Because he wasn't just another target. He was becoming something she couldn't control. Something she might even love. The first lie had been easy. She had told herself it was just work, just observation. Now it wasn't just work. And it wasn't just observation. It was dangerous. And falling was never part of the plan. Weeks passed, and Nia found herself missing deadlines. Not by hours, by days. Her encrypted reports remained untouched, unread by the people who had sent her. That should have terrified her, but instead, it left a strange emptiness. She realized she didn't want to write them. Not anymore. because Minjun had begun to occupy her thoughts. Their meetings grew longer, more personal. Nights spent walking along the river had turned into late dinners at his apartment. The penthouse was nothing like she had imagined. It was quiet, minimal, vulnerable. Shoes lined neatly by the door. Books left half-read. Low music playing softly in the background. "This place doesn't feel like you," Nia said one evening, standing near the balcony window as the city lights shimmered below. Minjun leaned against the counter, glass of water in hand. "It's the only place I don't have to be someone else," he said, voice low, almost confessional. She felt it immediately, the weight of that vulnerability. It terrified her more than any mission briefing ever had. They cooked together. Minjun measured every ingredient. She tasted everything, just to annoy him. He laughed. She teased. Laughter, real laughter, filled the apartment. It was dangerous. It was addictive. One night, while washing dishes together, Minjun asked softly, "Do you ever think about staying?" The question hung between them, heavy and quiet. Nia froze. Staying wasn't allowed. She had a mission, a handler, rules. She was trained to leave, to observe, to report. "I don't know how," she admitted, barely above a whisper. He didn't press. He just nodded. "Neither do I," he said. "But neither of us can pretend we're immune to this." Later, they sat on the couch, legs touching, shoulders brushing. The TV played something neither of them watched. Silence settled between them, thick and electric. "I don't trust easily," Minjun admitted. "I know," Nia replied softly. "But I trust you," he said, eyes locking on hers. Her chest tightened. His words weren't just words. They were a promise, a challenge, a warning. Nia reached for her encrypted phone, the one she used to report her observations. Her fingers trembled. She didn't send the message. Instead, she studied him, the man she was supposed to destroy, the man she was beginning to care for. Every detail of him haunted her. The lines of fatigue on his face, the way his hands moved when he was nervous, the subtle vulnerability he allowed no one else to see. The mission was no longer simple. The objective was no longer clear, because falling in love wasn't part of the plan. And Nia was losing control. The first fracture had opened. The lie was beginning to crumble. And somewhere deep down, she realized she didn't want it fixed. Because she wasn't just observing Minjun anymore. She was part of his world, whether he knew it or not. It arrived in an envelope, unmarked, on Nia's doorstep. No note, no sender, just the cold weight of inevitability. Inside were photographs, screenshots, time-stamped messages. Everything she had sent, meticulously recorded. Every observation, every lie, every moment she had shared with Minjun, catalogued for someone else's eyes. Her fingers shook as she sifted through the papers. This was the evidence, the proof, the knife she had been holding at Minjun's back without ever touching him. For the first time, fear gripped her. Not for herself, not entirely, for him, because he didn't know. Yet, that night, she went to the balcony, staring out over the city, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Minjun leaned against the doorframe behind her, his presence quiet but commanding. He didn't speak immediately, just watched her. "Something's wrong," he finally said. She swallowed hard. "It's nothing. Don't lie to me, Nia." The sound of her name from his lips sent shivers down her spine. He had always been able to see past her masks. Now, more than ever. Minutes passed. Her mind raced. She could tell him the truth, but how could she? How could she reveal that she had been sent to spy, that she had been watching, cataloging, reporting? He stepped closer. "I know," he said quietly. Her eyes widened. "Know what?" "You were sent to watch me." It wasn't a question. His tone didn't leave room for denial. Nia froze. Every instinct screamed to run. Every training she had screamed to cover it up. And yet, she couldn't. Not now. The truth spilled, haltingly, in fragments. She told him about her handlers. About the mission. About the envelope and the file. About every lie she had ever told him. Minjun listened, silent, watching, his expression unreadable, almost unreadable enough to make her panic. When she finished, the room was still. The city hummed faintly below, oblivious to the storm that had erupted inside the penthouse. "I trusted you," he said finally, his voice low, measured, but edged with tension. "I know," she whispered. "You knew what I do, who I am, yet you stayed." "I didn't want to leave," she admitted. Minjun's jaw tightened. A storm of emotion crossed his face. Anger, betrayal, confusion, something softer, something that made her chest tighten. "And you knew the consequences," he said. "You knew how dangerous this was." "I know," she repeated. "And I didn't care. Not for me. For you." For a long moment, they just stood there, the weight of their shared truths pressing down like the city skyline itself. Finally, he exhaled. A long, slow breath. "You could have destroyed everything," he said. "Everything I've built, everything I am. And yet..." He paused. "And yet, I can't stop thinking about how you stayed." Nia's heart hammered. The line between mission and feeling had blurred so completely, she didn't even know if it could be untangled. The first major confrontation had passed. The first cliffhanger resolved, and yet, everything had changed. They weren't just two people anymore. They were two forces, colliding. One holding secrets, one holding trust. And neither of them knew if what came next would save them, or destroy them completely. Nia knew this was the night everything could end. She had trained for moments like this. She had imagined confrontations, hand-to-hand threats, quick escapes, silent alarms. But nothing could prepare her for what awaited inside Minjun's apartment that evening. The door clicked behind her. Minjun stood in the shadows of the hallway, his expression unreadable, the soft glow of the city spilling across his face. "You're late," he said, calm, but there was something in his eyes that made her chest tighten. "I was caught up," she replied, voice steady despite the tremor she felt inside. He didn't move, just watched, studied. Silent judgment or curiosity, she couldn't tell. Minutes stretched. Her pulse raced. Every instinct screamed danger. Finally, he walked toward her. Slow, deliberate, every step measured. "Who sent you?" he asked quietly, almost casually. Nia froze. Not a question she could dodge. Not a question she could lie through anymore. One evening, while tracing a shipment tied to her handlers, Minjun leaned closer to Nia over a laptop screen. Their heads nearly touched. "You shouldn't have stayed," he said softly, almost a whisper. "I couldn't leave," she replied. For a heartbeat, they didn't look away from each other. Not because they were working, but because they didn't want to. Then the laptop pinged. A new alert. A message. A warning. Nia's stomach dropped. Someone had discovered their counterplan. "This is bigger than us," Minjun muttered, eyes hardening. "They know we're onto them." Her hands shook slightly. Not from fear. From adrenaline. From anticipation. Together, they realized the truth. They weren't just fighting for information. They were fighting for survival. And in that fight, they needed each other more than ever. For the first time, Nia truly felt it. Not the mission. Not the manipulation. Not even her fear. She felt him. Minjun wasn't just her target anymore. He was her partner. Her ally. The only one who could survive this with her. And as they prepared for the next move, the danger outside only made the pull between them stronger. Electric, impossible to ignore, and entirely uncontrollable. Because in a world built on lies, trust, and deception, they had carved a fragile, dangerous space for something else entirely, love. The warning had come too late. Minjun's apartment shook with the sound of a muffled explosion outside. Glass rattled in the windows. The city lights flickered, then stabilized. Nia's heart jumped into her throat. Her first instinct was to duck, to vanish, to hide, trained reflexes kicking in instantly. But Minjun's hand grabbed hers. Stay close, he ordered, his voice calm, deadly calm. They moved quickly, silently, to the panic room he had built years ago. Walls reinforced, cameras covering every angle. Supplies stocked. A place designed for threats far worse than a city explosion. Once inside, he shut the heavy door behind them. Nia's hands trembled. Who did this? Minjun shook his head. I don't know yet. But it's not random. They're testing us. Watching how we react. Her stomach twisted. Everything she had done, every secret she'd kept, had led to this moment. She realized just how fragile their world had become, and how much she truly cared for him. Minutes stretched. Every sound outside made her flinch. Then Minjun leaned close, voice low, almost private. If they knew we were together, if they knew you weren't just another spy. He didn't finish the sentence. But she didn't need him to. They had to act. Over the next hours, they coordinated. Silent calls. Back-channel messages. Nia tapped into her old networks, Minjun into his. Every move was precise, calculated, tense. Every second counted. At one point, Nia caught his gaze across the room. Her heart hammered. He had been angry, betrayed, cautious, but never protective like this. Never like he was now. You trust me? He asked quietly. Her answer was simple, yes. It wasn't just a lie anymore. It wasn't a mission. It was real. Then came the twist. A signal from her handlers, meant to sabotage them both. Nia's stomach dropped. Minjun noticed her reaction immediately. You're hiding something, he said, eyes narrowing. It's complicated, she admitted. Complicated doesn't matter, he said. Not now. Survival matters. The rest of the night was a blur. They moved together, communicated with a mix of silent gestures and quick, coded phrases. Every shadow outside the building became a threat. Every unmarked vehicle on the street could be watching. By dawn, they had neutralized the immediate danger. The strike had failed. But both of them knew this was only the beginning. And somewhere between the tension, the danger, and the fear, a fragile connection had been cemented. Nia realized she couldn't imagine a world without him. Not just because he was her target. Not just because he was her mission. But because he had become her anchor, her reason to fight, her reason to stay. And Minjun, watching her from across the room as the sun rose over the city, realized he felt the same. They had survived the first strike. But the enemy wasn't done. And neither were they. The city was quiet, almost suspiciously so. But Minjun and Nia both knew better. The first strike had been a warning. This one was personal. Nia's phone buzzed, encrypted messages from her handlers. Orders, threats, ultimatums. They wanted her to sabotage Minjun, to turn over secrets, to leave him vulnerable. Her hands shook as she read the words. Not this time, she muttered, almost under her breath. Minjun stood behind her, arms crossed. His gaze was sharp. You're holding back, he said. I'm trying to protect you, she admitted. From them. He stepped closer, his hand brushing hers. From me. Her heart skipped. She didn't answer. She couldn't. Hours later, they were in the penthouse when the knock came. Slow. Measured. Intentional. Minjun's eyes narrowed. They know, he said. Before Nia could react, the door burst open. Two men in masks charged in. The fight was instinctive. Minjun moved first, precise and lethal, neutralizing one attacker with a single sweep. Nia ducked, rolled, grabbed a nearby object, her instincts sharpened by years of training, and struck the other. Adrenaline coursed through them both. Every move synchronized, every glance a silent communication. When the attackers finally fled, leaving the penthouse in chaos, Nia collapsed onto the floor, shaking. Minjun knelt beside her, concern etched deep into his features. Are you hurt? Just scared, she whispered. He pulled her close. You don't have to be afraid. Not when I'm here. For the first time, the walls she had built around her heart crumbled. I didn't come here to fall in love, she said quietly. Neither did I, he admitted. But here we are. They sat there for hours, surrounded by the wreckage of the fight, their bodies pressed together. Silence stretched, comfortable now, filled with unspoken promises. But the danger wasn't gone. Nia's handlers would come again. Minjun's enemies would strike. And yet, for the first time, they were united. Not just by necessity, not just by survival, but by trust, by choice, by the undeniable pull that had drawn them together from the first swipe to this moment of chaos. As dawn broke over the city, Minjun whispered, "Whatever comes next, we face it together." And Nia, for the first time in her life, didn't hesitate to nod. Because together, they were unstoppable. The city was alive, buzzing with its usual chaos, but inside the penthouse, a rare stillness reigned. Nia and Minjun stood together, side by side, surveying the aftermath of the past weeks. The danger that had once seemed unstoppable had been neutralized, at least for now. Their enemies, both external and internal, had been tested, and they had survived. Minjun turned to Nia, his expression soft but firm. "You could have walked away," he said. "I almost did," she admitted, her voice quiet. "Every time I thought about it, every report I almost sent, I realized I couldn't. Not without losing myself." He reached out, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. "I don't trust easily," he murmured. "But I trust you." Her chest tightened. Every heartbeat echoed the truth she had felt for weeks. Every stolen glance, every late-night conversation, every dangerous mission had led here. To this moment. "You're not just a spy," he continued. "You're you. And I can't imagine a world without you in it." Nia swallowed, emotion choking her throat. "I wasn't supposed to feel this," she whispered. "You weren't supposed to fall in love," he said, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Neither was I. But we did. And somehow, that makes us stronger." They stood close, the tension of the past weeks fading into something warmer, safer, yet electric. The kind of connection neither could deny, no matter how impossible it had seemed at the start. Outside, the city carried on, oblivious to the battles, the secrets, and the trust that had been forged in shadows. But inside, a new chapter began. Minjun took Nia's hand. "Forever?" he asked, his voice low but certain. Nia hesitated for the briefest moment. Then, with a small, determined smile, she nodded. "Forever." It wasn't just a promise. It was a declaration, a choice, a commitment forged through danger, deceit, and undeniable love. The sun rose over the skyline, painting the city gold. For once, the world felt quiet, safe, alive. And as they looked out over the city together, side by side, Nia realized something she hadn't allowed herself to admit before. The mission had started as a lie, but what they had found, what they had fought for, survived for, and risked everything for, was real. Love. Unpredictable. Dangerous. Irresistible. And this time, there were no lies. They had swiped right once. And now, they had found forever. They survived betrayal, danger, and deception, and found love in the unlikeliest of places. Could you trust someone you were sent to deceive? If you loved this story, like, comment, and subscribe for more true-life love stories you won't believe.